plot structure, for its like humor, for its exaggeration, with that copywriting. So we make our copy, our emails visual, and then that's just content. Come, Elon, sit down.
Thank you.
Sit down, Elon.
Thank you.
It's time for another podcast.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, man.
So,
it's very good to see you.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Welcome, guys, to the Base Engine podcast. You have Romney here, and
Elon.
you know us. This is our third podcast. I'm really liking how we're developing that momentum, getting that consistency up with our podcast. And this one's going to be episode 3.
Yes.
And what are we going to be talking about today, Elon?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about how we started branding and how you can actually start too. A little bit of just our story, broken down into how we actually kind of started this podcast experience, just branding in general, just doing more social media marketing, and why it isn't really that tough to get started. Kind of like some false beliefs we've had along the way to kind of get where we are now. But we're going to be talking a little bit about that, and we can just jump straight in.
Yeah, I mean, we made this. We're making this video just in case anyone else feels the same way. I mean, some of the problems that we personally had is that we kind of felt like nobody really knew who we are. And that's actually, in some perspectives, that's actually true.
Yeah.
Like, not many people know who you are when you don't really brand yourself, especially when you do have a business. There's a lot of competitors out there. So in order to stand out, the best way to stand out is by showcasing who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's really what's so powerful about branding, that we didn't realize early enough.
Right.
You know, and now we're starting to do that. You know, and we also didn't feel like we felt a lot of false beliefs that prevented us from really taking action in the right direction with branding, with putting content out there. You know, with showcasing who we are. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel the same way, Elon?
Yeah, I feel like that statement of like we felt like we didn't know or nobody knew who we are. I think it's easy to, especially with social media, and there's big accounts, big brands, big public figures, businesses, and they have raving fan bases, and even like the smaller accounts on YouTube, wherever you see people putting out information and sharing, it's still kind of like, wow, they're getting noticed.
Even when a local business owner has like 5,000 followers, or like a realtor has like 5,000 followers, that's a big achievement.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. 5,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
5,000 accounts.
I have like 3 friends.
Yeah.
I'm really friends with.
Right.
You know, that's in perspective, that's a lot. But you build that strong community. It's like they all know who you are, you know, and when they are ready to do business with you and you build that relationship, when they have that kind of need and you're someone that they trust and know can fill it, that's how, like, in the long term, content, like, it wins.
Right.
Like, pushing it out.
Right.
You know?
And so, like, especially I think when it comes with putting out types of content, making like a brand or a business, it has to be a certain type of way, or there's a certain type of like quality you should be at to publish things. And I think there should be some level of quality control.
Yeah, there should be, but it's like it shouldn't stop you. From pushing out, just because you don't have like a full like content team. You know, like Gary Vee says this a lot. You know, it's like just because you don't have a content team, like a D-Rock that can follow you around and document your life, doesn't mean you can't push out content at a good enough quality to be pushed out.
Right.
You know, and still have people say like, "Oh, that's pretty good. That's like, it's pretty dope." You know.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah. What's your question, dude?
What made you? When was like? So we've been on this journey of like digital marketing, understanding, kind of like the online business realm, but now it's like we're understanding like the branding aspect of sharing your value. Like 2 years ago, we would talk about like starting your personal brand or like starting
I remember having like
or like a business brand. We like there's actually old videos of us on YouTube and stuff. But what do you think?
Check it out, by the way.
Yeah, like what do you think is the difference between you now versus then when you were consciously aware, but you weren't like actively invested enough to. Like, what were those experiences or false beliefs looking like for you?
For me, it's just, like, I wouldn't have, consistency nor the strong enough desire to be consistent. Like, I didn't see, like, the value didn't equate the effort in my personal mind. you know, which caused me to not take enough action.
I see.
That was a big pain because I knew that there's power in it. It's just like I was impatient.
Right.
I was really impatient. Like you would put out like some content, and you'd be like, oh, it got like 2 views.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't really want to like push it out again. But especially when you are like in a niche like being in business, you're not gonna have like millions of views. Like most videos aren't gonna have millions of views like you would if it's like a prank video or like something else.
Yeah.
It's more like
More
in the viral
entertaining.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you should like our video should be entertaining, but it's different. It's more niche. But I learned that even when you just have a small base, you know, that small base is a lot of power. There's a lot of power in that small base. So it's just really cultivating and developing that. And my really light bulb moment is when I actually went to a real estate networking event, and I heard one of the there's like 3 of the top agents in the Bay Area speaking, and they all use like social media in different ways, but they use it really effectively. Like one of them was Kenny Fast, that's his IG, Ricardo Velasquez, and I honestly can't remember the third guy, but he had a Warriors jersey on. And he was talking about the experiences, and then he literally said, Kenny Fast, he said, it's not about social media, it's not about even the content, it's about you showcasing to your clients and your potential like people you do business with that you are someone that they can do business with.
Right.
You know, this is someone that I can trust. This isn't just some guy who called me or some person that like emailed me or someone that I met. Like I kind of have a better sense of who this person is based on like what he pushes out, either through his social media or through his like email copy.
Right.
You know, it's just developing that stronger sense that they're both a human being and someone that can get the job done. You know, that's kind of what triggered me to really want to push this with ourselves.
Yeah. What reminds me of that is when we went to that first Real Estate Wealth Expo, that conference.
Yeah.
So at that conference, we were able to see like Gary Vee in person, Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of that reinforced this. But what they kept preaching was like just put it out, just put whatever you want, put it out. One thing Grant Cardone mentioned that has stuck with me still is kind of like people do business with people, and like, you know, if I'm gonna do business with you, I'm gonna look you up.
Yeah.
So
you don't do business with people you don't know. It's not physically possible to do business with someone you don't know.
Yeah.
You know? It's just like I've made it so clear.
You're gonna just look them up.
Yeah.
And Gary Vee talks about this type of stuff all the time. Like, it's a marathon, right? So it's just being, as Chet Holmes would say, having pig-headed discipline.
Yeah.
And just being consistent.
Being consistent.
But then kind of knowing why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, like know your why, you know, develop out your plan, make your systems, but don't get stuck in analysis paralysis of doing it for too long. Like, just develop out the system, develop out the plan, push it out, and then really just improve upon that.
Right.
You know, improve upon that. So, I mean, now, like, we've talked about our kind of experiences. We kind of want to take it back to you guys, whoever's watching, some of our, like, recommendations and feedback based on our own experiences in our journeys on how you can start doing this as a business owner, as a realtor, as an investor, whatever degree you are. You know, like, you can start pushing out content. You can start developing out your brand so that people who might do business with you dramatically increase the chances of them doing business with you. You know, and we're still starting out. We still are improving, but I think this is like the first step is like the perspective. You know?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely all perspective, because, and this is like number one towards like our type of solution on how we've approached branding and marketing ourselves, is that you have to understand that everyone has started somewhere. Even if you have zero experience, even if you are privileged to be in a community that helps you with things, you all start somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's perspective, and even if you don't have a lot of resources, a lot of time or money, it's just understanding that and knowing that you have to start somewhere, so you have to do something.
Yeah.
And you know, the smallest things count.
Yeah.
People care about the small things. But it's also really overlooked the little things you can use with your time. Just posting an Instagram story when you're walking.
Yeah.
Or, you know, checking out what's trending on TikTok, because you know that you're going to have some time that you can probably record something.
You can make a TikTok. You can get
Little
some
things like
really
that.
creative ideas
Yeah.
from what's out there. You know, that's why, like, you shouldn't, like, I don't agree with, like, not consuming at all. I think you should consume social media, you should consume content,
Right.
but you should use it as a way of, like, oh, how can I make my content better? What are some ideas that I can take and, like, combine my message with it and then make it my own, like, create a spin. And yeah, I mean, it is a matter of perspective. Everyone starts somewhere. What I found crazy, going back to that real estate World Expo, is when we saw, like, these people speak that in my mind I almost put on, like, a pedestal. They're like celebrity entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I look at them, like, I look at Grant Cardone, I look at Gary Vee, like, in person. They're just people. They're just normal people that just, like, use that pig-headed discipline and did it. You know, like, it's just really mind-blowing to me to, like, think, like, yo, just, like, Grant Cardone, he looks like he's the same height as me. Like,
Probably is.
Yeah, like, I was just mind blown. I was like, wow, these are just people, like, and they started somewhere. Like, so am I.
Right.
Like, I'm also a person, you know, and I also want to, like, reach that caliber of success eventually. You know, it's just, you know, actually executing upon the advice.
Right.
You know, putting out content and all that stuff.
Yeah,
you know, put yourself out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that it's just like there's a value. I mean, organically, like, if you see a public figure or celebrity or business, a Nike, a Grant Cardone, a Kylie, it's just like you understand that what they're doing has some type of value and they're getting people to look at it or buy it or share a message. And I think that when it comes to branding yourself, it's just that perspective, knowing your experiences right now or where they're at and documenting it, sharing it with the world, and knowing that's what you got right now, right?
Yeah.
Because, and it just kind of goes back to being, like, appreciative and the gratitude of just, like, it's about, like, the journey, right?
Yeah.
Not just the end destination.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's really important to experience, like, what we're experiencing right now, what other people have, you know, Hollywood just didn't become Hollywood overnight, right? So
that's literal, yeah. It's true.
You know, even the biggest studios, they've taken time to get where they are right now, and so it's willing to be vulnerable and just accept that and just make the best out of that opportunity you have right now.
It's the will to, like, put yourself out there despite all these false beliefs, all these pains that you might feel. I know that we felt. It's still continuing to push yourself out there. And for you guys watching, I mean, most of you that do have a business are actively already pushing yourself out there. What we're just saying with branding, is just doing it more effectively, more in a calibrated way, where you document maybe, like, networking events you go to. You might document, no, you don't have to document meetings you go to because you want to keep the client's privacy. But, you know, like, documenting that, like, yo, this is what I'm up to. This is what I do. There's something funny that I came across. You know, just to showcase the person, here's my family, here's my niece, kids, whatever it may be for you. And then putting it out there, you know, making, even, like, adjusting your follow-up emails, you know, to really showcase, like, who you are, what you really represent. You know, and just taking all of that and just, like, documenting your journey that Elon's talking about. You know, that's really powerful because it shows people who you are, and at the end of the day, it's really crazy to look back on. You know, it's really crazy to look back on, and like, it's like in a year from now, you're doing it consistently, it's gonna be way better.
That's a lot of content.
It's gonna be way better than last year. You know.
Yeah.
Like, every single week, you should be reflecting upon, like, what you actually pushed out, and you should be improving upon it. You know, it might be on, like, Sunday Fun Day meetings. You know, like we have. Right. We kind of analyze, like, what do we do well? What can we improve on? And then really just adjusting from there.
Yeah.
Like, making it even more great.
Yeah.
Fire.
Romney's touched on something that's really, really important, at least, like, when it comes to content producing. What I found to be beneficial is just, you know, if you're putting out content, you kind of see things you don't really like, or maybe there's a few edits you notice that could have been made there.
There's a picture with, like, an awkward smile or something.
It's just, you start to notice, and I think it's, like I said, it's perspective, so you want to be able to just notice these things and constantly improve. But manage your time effectively of how you're producing your content.
It shouldn't take you too long. You
Shouldn't
shouldn't
take
be
you
spending
too
a whole
long.
day. You got stuff to do.
Man,
It can though.
it can.
It can.
Like for me, like an example is that when we put out like our first podcast, it was just something we wanted to just record and just publish.
Yeah.
Wasn't like the highest of quality. Whatever. Next one, it'll be better. And it was actually a lot better.
Yeah.
But even like I was having exporting issues since we're the ones like kind of making the videos and footage.
We don't have the content team ourselves.
Yeah, so it's just us right now.
Yeah.
And like it's like, dang, okay, well maybe we need like to do this like a week in advance or a month in advance, which is our goal right now. Just being ahead of content. And so just little things like that, managing your time, reflecting on your efforts when it comes to marketing or branding activities, and chunking your time is ahead of time is really effective. We found.
Proactive.
So
it's being proactive.
Yeah.
With this thing that can provide you a lot of value, it's just a matter of putting in the effort to get that output of value.
Right. Yeah.
So with that, I mean, is there anything else that we should talk about today, Elon? Any last remarks?
Yeah. So that we went over like a lot of content. Most of it was just how you can start applying, simple practices to market and brand yourself. Now, I don't think this is exclusive to just like a person. We've talked about it's also for businesses.
Oh yeah.
Locations. I would say it applies to anything that's product, service, people,
service, message,
anything that's a brand.
Creativity,
And so I feel like all of this information, although we're documenting our journey, there's little things in here that can fit with yours wherever you are.
Yeah.
And so
It's true.
we just want to be able to kind of give our insight and help someone else who was or is in our position or previous positions. So,
and one last piece of golden nugget that Elon made me think about is if you're feeling a little stuck, you need something a little bit more actionable to follow. Despite like our 4 steps, changing your perspective, putting yourself out there, documenting and improvements. If you're having trouble thinking of like types of content you put up, one easy hack that we started doing, that I've been doing a lot, is content hacking actually. Like looking at Instagram pages, looking at YouTube accounts, even Facebook, TikToks of people that are both in your same industry, in your same space, as well as people outside that space. Seeing like what are they putting out there? Well, what's not just the actual content, but what's the structure behind different things, and then you can just take your values and your messages and custom tailor that using that same structure.
Right.
Borrowing that.
Right.
It's just a matter of just doing it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so that's some actionable advice if you're feeling a little stuck.
Right.
But the first step is always the mindset. The mindset around it, like moving forward, be past limiting beliefs. Breaking those limits, putting yourself out there, and the rest is just improvement and documentation. It's fun. Showcase the rest of the world the fun you're having.
Right. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. So I guess I can wrap it up really fast.
Yeah, I'm done.
Romney touched on something really important, and I think we might actually expand on in another episode too, that it reminds me. But content hacking and seeing what's working.
We should actually make a YouTube video off it too, so
Yeah.
you can like visually see like, oh, these are like TikToks.
Oh,
viral,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, we-
This is IG pages.
So we'll have a lot of examples of all the stuff we're talking about. And one of the areas you kind of mentioned, but it's modeling success.
Yes.
And so
That's the
seeing,
people one. That's
so
the
seeing
people.
what's working or what's getting noticed and modeling after it. It can be from like someone you would like to mentor from you or whatever. It's kind of just seeing what's working and using that type of style and structure.
It's powerful. And
Right.
we'll talk more about it.
Yeah. It's very powerful.
It's very
Yeah.
powerful. It's crazy. You'll hear a lot more about it.
Yeah.
Over time.
Cool. Well, do you have anything
No,
else?
I mean, best of luck, guys. I mean, it's definitely tough. It's definitely hard making time for it, but just make a system that you like that works for you right now, and maybe like an MVP, and then just every week just try to improve.
Yeah.
Every week.
And we'll be releasing more content geared around this type of subject too. It's kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, like different things that you can do.
Right. Just to stand out and
with your situation.
leverage your current opportunities.
No matter what your marketing budget is, what your branding budget is, like you can be doing something to put yourself ahead.
Right.
You know, and it's just what we want to share. You know, so thank you for joining us in this journey, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yes.
Peace
Thank
out.
you. Peace out.